can see a question here from Steve. So it says, sometimes I suffer from analysis paralysis. I hold in high regard the value of research and due diligence, but I haven't learnt where to draw the line and pull the trigger. I think it's partly to do with the physical tiredness from busting chops 10 to 12 hours per day. Perhaps it's more of an issue of mindset. So I might try and tackle this one a little bit. So analysis paralysis really comes from somebody with a very detailed mind who wants to know all of the answers before pulling the trigger. The problem is, Steve, that sometimes you can't know all the answers. And so the more you try to find out, the more that you're going to go down more and more rabbit holes. So you need to get to a position where you're actually comfortable in saying, have I got enough information to either have a go or no-go decision? So is there enough here to say, no, I don't want to go any further, in which case I stop. And if the answer is stop, then stop. If the answer is, well, now, yes, there's enough to go on, then pick another milestone to go to and say, well, I'll put a little bit more info into that particular stage. If you do that, you'll keep having these toll gates where you say, okay, well, this is me doing a litmus test to say, is this process actually working to do what I actually want? And eventually you'll get to a point where you'll either pull the trigger and actually execute it, or you'll pull the trigger and shoot the deal. But you want to be in a position where every single time you come to those milestones, you're actually saying more effort, less effort. Whereas right now, what you're doing is just more effort, more effort, more effort, more effort, and you're not actually taking a chance to actually measure that.
But there's also a limiting belief in there, Rob, and that is fear. So that is the fear of pulling the trigger. So that is, I don't quite have all the things that I need, and I'll just do a bit more research, a bit more analysis. As Rob said, sometimes at different points in the process, 80% is okay. When you're in due diligence, 80% is not okay, right? So that is where you want to get laser focused with everything. But prior to that point, 80% is okay, providing you've got the appropriate clauses and whatnot in your contract, you get out of jail cards, then it's okay. But deeply underlying that, Steve, could be a fear. It could be a fear of actually, not wanting to make a mistake, so a fear of failure, etc. So you need to be aware of that. As Rob said, at different points in the process, it's okay to just pull the trigger. And the more that you pull the trigger and realize that you're safe because you've got the appropriate stopgap measures in your contract, then it's okay. And I remember when I did my course, way back in 2015, I was fearful of putting in offers. I couldn't quite just grasp my head. I was very analytical, coming from a sales background and spending a lot of time behind spreadsheets. And I remember Daryl Ray, I don't know if Daryl's watching, but Daryl sat down with me and said a few stern words to me, and I put an offer in, and I really struggled initially to do that because I hadn't quite done all the analysis that I thought, but then I put the offer in and it was okay. And I put another offer in and it was okay, and another offer in, and so on and so forth. And then I just got out of my own way essentially and just put offer after offer after offer after offer because I was okay, because I had, A, it was only an offer. B, I put in there the appropriate clauses in that offer. I hadn't got a contract, but it was just the stories that I was telling myself, getting all caught up in my own BS, to be honest. Yeah,
and something that's, and everyone understands these things a little bit differently, but if you're looking for something a little bit more visual, just imagine that you're coming to a decision point and there are three options that you've got in front of you. Now, at the end of each of those three decisions, chances are there's another option point with another three decisions. And so you've got three there, three there, three there. So you've really got 9 things. The people with analysis paralysis tend to want to find the answer to all 9. Whereas what you really want to do is, well, which path do I want to go down? Because when I go down there, then 6 of those decisions actually disappear, and now I've just got 3 left. So you're half the amount of effort for a start. And so those tollgate systems are really important to say, well, at what point can I make just enough decision to go, am I going left or right? Or, am I pulling the trigger or am I not pulling the trigger? And, there's plenty of time to find all of the answers at the end of at the end of the rabbit holes, but you're only going down the rabbit holes that you need to go down.
Yeah, and it's about failing fast as well. So how many times have you, and this is to everybody, spent an enormous amount of effort on something only for it to not work in the end, right? And you've gone and burnt a day or two or maybe a week. And so you want to get into the process, into the practice of looking at ways to fail things very quickly, so you can actually then spend your effort, your time on the things that are going to work.
Yeah. And I noticed Steve saying he's 46 on Tuesday. Happy birthday in advance.
Happy birthday, Steve. How did I know? Mate, I just knew. I'm just on that level. I just knew. No, happy birthday for Tuesday.
And where we're from, people whose birthday it is always shout. So, yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Fantastic.
Thanks,
very good. Now, we've got any other questions there, Ryan?
Yeah, I can see one from...
Maggie Sarai. Hello, Maggie. How are you?
Maggie's come on a little bit late, but plenty of gold, Maggie. Go back and rewind. Alex says, I understand the value of affirmations, but I'm not sure I really get meditation. Okay. Particularly in the morning when I'm just slept for 6 to 7 hours. I always feel like this is a bit unnecessary at that time of day. Does meditation serve another purpose in the mindset journey that I'm missing?
Yes, it does, Alex. Great question. And the purpose it serves is to get mindful. Mindfulness is all about being present. So meditation is not about going back to sleep. So I'm glad that you've just come off the back of 6 or 7 hours sleep. But it's not about going back to sleep. Meditation is about getting present. What happens when we look backwards? That's a form of depression. What happens when we look forwards? It's a form of anxiety. We want you to get very mindful. And so my form of meditation is around mindfulness meditation. That is, I get very comfortable and I've got my phone on. I sleep with my phone on airplane mode, so I still have it on airplane mode in the morning. My family know that if there's an emergency, call the lady beside me, who happens to be my wife, but call her. But I have my phone on airplane mode. And I have the countdown timer, and I do it for about 3 minutes. So for you starting out for meditation, you might do it for 10 seconds, 20 seconds. Start off small, but you want to get comfortable, close your eyes and concentrate on your breathing. So in through your nose, out through your mouth. And when you're doing that, what happens is you're getting very centered with where you're at. Then what will happen after a little while is that different thoughts will come in. Oh, I need to do this today, and I've got to get that from the shops, and blah, 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 blah. And you want to then look to sort of bat those away. And it's like anything. The more that you practice it, the easier it'll be to bat away those thoughts that try and come in and spoil your meditation. But it's all around just getting very centered and present in that particular moment. It's also great to do it during the day as well. I used to do it in my old day job, and I still do it now on occasion, before I'd go into a challenging meeting, and I'd get very centered. I wouldn't get too anxious about what was going to happen. I just look to get very calm, very centered. It's very good from lowering your blood pressure, bringing your heart rate down. It's a very good process. You don't have to just do it as part of a morning routine. You could slip a little meditation in at different times throughout the course of the day. And again, really, all you need to do is find a comfy spot. So you might be sitting in your car for a couple of 30 seconds before you go in to have a conversation with perhaps a real estate agent or a vendor, and just get very mindful about where you're at. Quite often, again, we worry about stuff that's gone before us, or we get anxious about stuff that's coming up. And what we need to do is, on a regular occasion, stop and smell the roses.